I'm retired, so what do I do all day? So today I'll be reviewing my Bulkman QueenBee Pro CNC router that I bought in 2024. So this is a review after 18 months of experience. I do hope you enjoy the video, but this was one of my first videos that I recorded for my channel, so please forgive some of the edits.
Here we have the QueenBee Pro from Bulkman 3D. So this is my machine that I purchased around 18 months ago. Bought it off of AliExpress. I wasn't too sure about spending so much money and importing something from China, but actually it worked out really well. It came in less than 2 weeks. It was very well packaged. It had everything was very well labeled, and it was relatively easy to put together. So the machine comes with this particular one's got an air-cooled spindle, 1.5 kilowatts, goes up to 24,000 RPM. I'll show you the controller in a minute. It's got linear slides, and it's got a bed which is 1.5 meters by 1 meter, which for me is more than enough. And then the Z height, as I've got it set up here, is about 120 millimeters. Now, this is the electronics cabinet for the machine. There are 3 elements to this. You can see at the top is the main power supply, which powers the controller, the X Pro V5 controller, and then to the left is the variable frequency drive, or the VFD. Now, it's relatively straightforward to put all this together. The good thing is to put some discipline in place in terms of labeling up all of the axes, so you know what's what, and you can see that that's what I've got on here. One of the things which is very good about this machine is you can wire in directly to the controller the probe which helps you to set the Z height, which I found extremely useful. The machine has a bed size of 1.5 meters by 1 meter. Now that's the distance between the rails and end to end, but of course in terms of the machining size, the effective machining size, as you can see on my little card here, is actually in X it's set 755, in Y is 1210. Now I tend to use, in the past, because this is my second machine, I like to use an MDF bed, which is sacrificial, which I can use to screw into. I do have some T-slots here, but I tend to prefer the MDF bed. It's flexible for me, but everyone, for whatever they do, prefers their own way. Now in the centre here, you can't really see it that well, but I've actually got a little hatchway that I can take out, which gives me the opportunity to machine slightly bigger things and gives me a double in height of over the Z axis, which I find very useful. This machine is well constructed with its linear rails, and you can see the bearings here. It's 2 sets of bearings and 2 rails for each axis, one here and one down below, which you can't see. Now that's it's very good, very repeatable, but one of the problems I've found is that after it's been assembled, the ability to lubricate the bearings is quite limited. You can see it's got an extremely small grease nipple here, which is very hard to get into. Not so bad on this one, but on the other axes it's quite difficult. The other problem is I've not found a suitable grease gun that I can use on such a small grease nipple. So if anyone's got any suggestions on that, I would be very pleased to find out. Underneath you can see the communication cable here, which is the RS485 comms, which goes from the controller into the VFD. Now I actually had quite a lot of trouble with this. Originally I used to get some error faults which came up as a comms problem. Then I subsequently found out that I needed as you can see here, there's I think it's a 100 ohm resistor at one end of the RS485, which helped alleviate the problems. However, about 6 months later I started getting the same problem again. So I spent a lot of time trawling the internet trying to find out what this problem was. It turned out that a lot of people have had the same problem and were pulling their hair out trying to work out how to fix it. So I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I came to the conclusion that it had to be an earthing fault between the 2 components here of the VFD and the controller. So my solution, as you can see, was to pull all of the earthing from both the variable frequency drive, both from the supply side here, the spindle side here, and then if you follow this one up here, this goes up to the power supply. So I've pulled those all back to, not particularly elegant, but it works, chocolate block, which gives us a central earthing point. Now it seemed a bit strange at first, because if you look up here on the actual main supply, I've got the power supply unit and the VFD right next to each other, so you wouldn't have thought there'd have been too much of a difference between the two in terms of earthing. But anyway, if you're having problems with your machine with the RS485, I would strongly recommend that you review your earthing and make sure that you get everything back to a common earthing point. So you can see the drive axis motors here. We've got the one in front of us here, which is the Z axis. There are two motors here for the Y, one on this side, one for the other side over here, and then you can see at the top here, that's the Z axis. Now, one of the problems I had in the summer when it was 30 plus degrees in my workshop was that I was found that this particular axis was getting quite hot. It was doing a lot of movements in X, and I was a bit concerned because it was almost too hot to touch, which I didn't like. So what I've done as an improvement, as you can see here, positioned at the point where the X-axis mainly is for most of my machining, is a USB powered fan, and that helps a lot to keep it cooler. Now you can see down here, you probably already spotted them, that for the two Y-axis motors, I've also done the same thing with some USB powered fans, and those have worked very well to keep the machine axes cool. Now this machine runs off of a laptop, which you have to provide for yourself. There's some free open source software called CNCJS, I think is how you pronounce it. Now I've got experience of a different system, but I found this has been pretty good. It's very reliable. I had no major issues with it. I think it's a little bit clunky on how you move the spindle around manually, but apart from that, it's pretty good. You can write your own small programs in there. For example, there's one for the probe calibration. So my design software of choice is Vectric VCarve Pro. I've been using this now since I got my first router, which was in about 2010. It's come on leaps and bounds since then. Can't recommend it highly enough. It's very, very good. Gives you super flexibility, and particularly now with some of the AI tools and the 3D routing you can do, it's absolutely fantastic. Here you can see my selection of CNC cutters. I've got a lot, but then again I do a lot of different type of CNC work. Now, one of the great things that's happened in the last few years has been the price of the cutters has come down remarkably. When I first started back in 2010, some of these ones over here, these would be, you're looking at 15 to 20 pounds each, and of course now if you look at these other ones, I have to say most of these are now made in China, but most of these cutters you can get for only a few pounds each. Which means that there's no excuse really for having a blunt cutter tool, and you can replace them very cost effectively. Another thing to factor in for your new router is where you're going to keep it. So I've built myself a very sturdy workbench here. It's got an enclosure which I've built using various bits of scrap wood that I had around the workshop, but I've also put in some perspex. Has a number of benefits. Number one, the perspex and everything else is good from a safety point of view in terms of chips and pieces of wood flying out. Secondly, it keeps the dust in, and thirdly, it helps to keep the noise down. A router can be very noisy, and I do recommend using ear protection. So there you have it. This is my QueenBee Pro. Very pleased with it. I have a lot of fun out in the workshop. It's so flexible, and really it's only the limits of your imagination of what you can build and what you can make. I've been trying to combine the routing with my love of wood turning and coming up with some interesting things which you can see in my other videos. So that's the brief go around of my QueenBee Pro. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, or indeed if you can answer my question about the best way of lubricating the linear slides, then please get in touch.
So how would I summarise my QueenBee Pro CNC router? Well, this is a good machine that offers value for money. You should be able to build it yourself reasonably easily if you follow the YouTube videos. Now there are a few things that could be improved in the design, but these wouldn't put me off buying one. Let me know in the comments if you have experience with this machine and what some of the issues are that you might have had. And please contact me if you have any questions at all. Thank you for watching. Now you know a bit more of what I do all day. Like and subscribe to find out some more.